Hi, this is Steve here, N4MRN. Excuse my voice, just getting over a cold. I wanted to talk about my RF problem here on 160 that I mentioned in comments in Jim's YouTube video. Good video, by the way. So I got a Kenwood here, 890, 15 watts, Ameritron amplifier. So a foot pedal control. Without the amplifier in there, it's putting out 15 watts. I have an automatic antenna tuner out back, excuse me, for an inverted L. We're going to look at that in a minute. But so here we can see the meter set to SWR. I got basically no SWR. So to kick the amp, well, actually the amp is on, but here's the rig with a pass-through. So this passes right through the antenna tuner, and this here should prove that we have basically no SWR. A little bit of SWR is introduced with the input of the tube amp, but anyway, the issue is the RF on here. So I have the drive turned down to 15 watts, which only yields a little over 200 watts here. I could just prove it here. This is out to the antenna. Basically, no SWR to speak of. But here's the issue that I've been having is RF burns. Getting zapped every time I touch something here. The mic. I use a neon bulb here instead of my fingers. It was burning my fingertips and a little annoying that way. So this is just proving that I got way too much RF here. Somehow, some way, something's causing this. Everything I touch, and that's only at 250 watts. If I turn the drive up to where I momentarily get 500 watts, which I shouldn't really be doing on air, but I'll do for demonstration purposes real quick. You'll see how much RF I get. The bulb actually starts to glow purplish. So that's obviously an RF problem. What I found the solution is we're talking about hard grounding. So there's a piece of 14 gauge wire. This is a temporary ham shack in my dining room. I'm still converting my room to a ham shack, but temporarily I ran a piece of 14 gauge up underneath the kitchen sink and just wrapped around the cold water pipe. And on back of the amplifier here, it worked really well. I just simply took the green wire, put it to the grounding lug, and it works. As you'll see here, no more RF anywhere, no matter what I do. It's clean, 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 clean. So the issue Jim was talking about with the National Electrical Code is 100% valid. Grounding it to house ground is not going to work. This is a single-story house. This room here is the furthest away as possible to the breaker box. So to be complying with NEC, I thought, well, why don't we just put a capacitor in there like that. Just RF coupling capacitor, and that happens to be a plate cap. It happens to be one of these right here. That's kind of what happens in the amplifier. Use a DC decoupling cap to couple your RF out to the Pi network while maintaining the 2700 volts DC, well, 1700 volts. So with the cap in series, it still works. No RF. I saw a quick flash. I think that was just static of me sitting down, but so we're clean all the way up. If I put the drive up, 40 watts, kind of pegs the bird watt meter there, but we're clean. So the capacitor is the way to go, in my opinion, and that's just an opinion here. That way you get your grounding, your RF grounding, because that's really all you're trying to achieve, is to get rid of that RF. Why it's coming here on 160, I don't know. It only happens on 160. Let's go look at the antenna. I have plenty of, well, never have enough ground radials, but I have a series of ground radials, quarter wavelength. You'll see 1, 2, they go all the way out to the yard there. There's the feed line, a little windy out here today. There's a ground rod down in there, 8 foot, one of these. Series of ground radials there. This is kind of a loop. I won't get into detail on the antenna too much. You can find my other video, but basically it goes way up there over to the top tree, loops back down into this SG tuner, which does a really, really nice job. Another ground radial. So I don't really have high SWR. Why all that RF is in the shack on 160 is a mystery, but purpose of this video is just to show that you can ground to a ground rod. Ultimately this will go to a ground rod outside, but basically I'll have the capacitor in series, and that's that'll protect my DC and AC ground for the National Electrical Code. This just happens to be a .01. That should be it.